So if you're a homeowner in DC metro area, you might be at that point where you're starting to ask yourself, all right, what's next? Well, that's exactly what we're gonna dive into. We're talking about downsizing. Sure, but really it's about so much more than just a smaller space. It's about designing your next amazing chapter. Right now, the DC area is in the middle of what experts are calling the silver tsunami. It's this huge once in a generation wave of longtime homeowners who are stepping into a new phase of life. And because of that, downsizing has become one of the biggest and most important conversations happening in our region. And here's something you really need to get. Downsizing today is a whole new ballgame. It's not what it was even 5 years ago. It's not just about buying a smaller house anymore. No way. Now, it's a strategic decision. It's about your lifestyle, your long term plan, and making really smart choices that are gonna serve you for years to come. So, to help you navigate all of this, we're gonna walk through the four most common paths we see people take right here in the DC area. We'll get into the real pros and the real cons of each one so you can start to actually picture which one might be the right fit for you. First up, we've got an incredibly popular option, especially for folks coming out of single family homes in places like Bethesda or McLean or even Capitol Hill. That's the luxury lock and leave condo. The name kind of says it all, right? It's all about the convenience. So let's break it down. On one hand, the upside is pretty obvious, way less maintenance. You're done worrying about the roof, the yard, all of that. Plus, you get amazing amenities. Think fitness centers, concierge services, the whole deal. On the flip side, you've got the trade offs. Those condo fees can be really high. And let's be honest, the emotional challenge of decluttering a lifetime of stuff to fit into a smaller space. That's a huge hurdle for a lot of people. At the end of the day, it really boils down to this. If the idea of just locking your door, heading off to travel, and staying right in the heart of the action with restaurants and theaters just a walk away, if that sounds like heaven, then this is definitely a path you should be exploring. Okay, moving on to our second option. And this one is a big shift in focus. We're talking about continuing care retirement communities. You'll also hear them called CCRCs. Now think of this less as a just a move and more as a long-term plan that's built entirely around peace of mind. The core benefit and the big kahuna here is that healthcare is built right in. You move in while you're independent, but you have guaranteed access to assisted living or skilled nursing if you ever need it at all on the same campus. Your monthly fees are predictable and you don't pay property taxes. So, what's the challenge? Well, there's usually a pretty significant upfront entrance fee, and you typically don't own the real estate, which means you're not building equity like you would have in a traditional home. This is a big one. You absolutely have to pay attention to the wait lists for most of the popular CCRCs in the DC area. We're talking about waits of 2, 3, sometimes even 5 years. This just goes to show you this isn't a last minute decision. It takes serious long term planning. So, who is this for? The CCRC model is really designed for people who want to solve the housing question and the healthcare question in one single move. It provides certainty for you and it takes a potential burden off of your family down the road. Okay, let's move on to our third path, which is one a lot of people kind of default to sometimes without giving it a whole lot of thought. Aging in place. This just means staying right where you are in your current home and modifying it for the long haul. We see this all the time in neighborhoods with really deep roots, like Capitol Hill or Upper Northwest DC. The positives are pretty clear, right? You get to stay in a place you love. You're surrounded by your memories. And if your mortgage is paid off, your monthly costs might seem low and you're still building equity. But the realities can sneak up on you. Maintenance never ends. Your social circles can change as your neighbors move, and the cost of necessary renovations. And I'm talking about things like adding a first floor bedroom or even an elevator can be really, really substantial. Here's the key takeaway for this one: aging in place can't be a passive choice. For it to work, it has to be an active one. It's best for homeowners who are willing to proactively and strategically invest in their home to make sure it's going to work for them 10 or even 20 years from now. That brings us to our fourth and final option. This one focuses way less on medical care and much more on lifestyle. We're talking about the 55 plus active adult community. You should think of this as a move that's designed entirely around social connection, hobbies, and fun. So, the big benefit here is being surrounded by a community of your peers, all at a similar stage in life, with amenities like golf courses, pickleball courts, and social clubs, literally right outside your door. The prices are often a lot more approachable than a luxury condo. The main thing to consider: these communities are usually farther out from the city center, and it's really important to remember they are not designed for long term healthcare. So, if your needs change, another move might be necessary down the line. This path is absolutely perfect for those of you who are ready to trade a close commute for a vibrant, activity filled community. If your number one priority is a built in social life and kind of a resort like feel, this is an option you should be taking a serious look at. Okay, let's just pull it all together for a second. This gives us a really quick snapshot. You can see the luxury condo is all about convenience, the CCRC is about certainty, aging in place is about comfort and familiarity, and that 55 plus community, that's all about lifestyle. And each one has a major consideration that you've gotten away with. Now that we've explored all these options, I want to share the single biggest mistake that I see homeowners make when they approach this process. And believe me, getting this one thing right can make all the difference in the world. So, what is it? What's the one thing that can derail an otherwise perfectly good plan and turn what should be a hopeful transition into a super stressful crisis? It's this waiting until the decision is forced on you. When downsizing becomes an urgent reaction to a health scare or some other life event, your options just shrink dramatically. The costs go up, and the stress on everyone involved just skyrockets. This right here gets to the absolute heart of the matter. It requires a total shift in how you think about it. This is not just about selling a house, it's about thoughtfully designing the next chapter of your life. And that requires planning, not panicked reaction. So let's reframe this whole thing. This isn't about an ending, it's about being the author of your next chapter. And the way you do that successfully is by taking control of the process. The best first step, whether you're thinking of moving next year or 5 years from now, is simply having a planning conversation. There's no pressure, there's no one size fits all answer, but understanding your options well before you need them, that is what gives you power. It gives you control over your own future. Really, that's what this is all about. So I'll leave you with this one powerful question to think about. Forget the logistics for a minute. Forget the money and just ask yourself, what do you want your next chapter to look like? Answering that question, that's the true first step.